Hi everyone, this will be a very short video on a low-hanging fruit that I thought was pretty cool, but I did not think about it until it actually improved the experience. So I was testing one of the competitors, and I realized that they had subtle haptic feedbacks everywhere. And then I've tried a few more, and everybody had one, and I realized my app felt a little bland without it. And I realized that on July 12th AI had created this file for the haptic with the trigger, success, error, warning, and the trigger selection. And I uh, I don't want to promote Alex Sidebar, but this is a uh, what do you say, this is a prompt that you can use in any tool, AI tools. It's more of using which model it is about. I think that Sonnet 4 did an amazing job. So all I said was I want to add haptics everywhere, and it was going through all the files, and it started going through each file and then added, like, I thought it would just miss a few, but then it was actually adding to all the files. Like, actually, I think it did miss a few of them, but I'm okay because right now I can just ask it whichever. Like, I'm doing a stress test to see uh, which all it missed. So you can see it added to 41 files, and then there was an error. The error was that this file wasn't available in haptics in the widgets, which is a code smell because widgets should not have access to this file. But because some of the views that I have that somehow are added to the widget framework, that's why I had to add this. So that's a big code smell, and I will fix it when I get some chance. And yeah, that's it. And yep, it was able to add it to most of the places. And the point, I said that in my prompt, I said wherever relevant. So it made sure that when it's a button for, let's say, add to food log, it added a success. When there was an actual warning or something error, it would add the warning one. And then for most of the cases, it added a selection, which was pretty good. And then some light feedbacks. I did not go with the hard ones. I am not a fan of the hard ones. But as what I realize is that while I'm thinking of this, I can do one thing and say, um, I'm almost out of the context window. So I will just try to say that please add settings if the user would want it or disabled, and add it as a user default preference, and check for that is haptics enabled value in all these functions in the haptics manager. Like, I do not want it to do it individually in all the files, but in this file itself. I had not planned to do it live while I'm recording this, but it is what it is. So you have to bear with me while I'm saying all this. So for all the buttons, we have the success and the custom types. All the pickers have the custom selection type. Even the small grids, if you have seen my app, I have the dot light, and I think it has the selection instead, which is nice, and it feels nicer to tap the grids now. And what else do I have in the app? Then I have, when I'm clicking on the close button, which has, I think, a medium. One thing I would want is on the recent activity, when I'm tapping the view, I would want a haptic. And I think when I click on the share button, when I share on the image, it will have a different haptic. And it crashed while I clicked on the button to share the haptic or share the image, but that's okay. Is that okay? I don't know. Yeah. So I think the haptics are placed almost everywhere I want to be, and it works very well. So now you can see, let's see what it did. It, in the user default, it created a constant is haptics enabled, and then let me update the haptic manager. So now it checks for is haptic enabled, and there's a guard value. This is how I had thought it would add, so it did in the same way, so I'm pretty happy. And is haptics enabled, it would do a gets and set. And let me compile. So where is it doing it in the settings? It's doing it here. So if I go back to the settings view, I can see I do not want it to open there's a preference section with haptic toggle, and it added a haptic feedback vibration for button text and AI response emoji. I think this is an old code. I can kind of get rid of this. Yeah, and perfect. So let's see what we have here, and this should be just padding because I want the default padding. I do not want a 16 here. Yeah, I think that would build. I do not see any, cannot find constants. I think constants is from the Zenther core, so it should work actually. I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe it's just a cached error or something. And one thing I realized, because it uses the cache from MLX, which conflicts with my main Xcode build, so it will give me a problem. I am kind of 100% sure it will have that thing, but let's see, we'll try to build. And in the meanwhile, let me know what you think of having haptics in the app. For the log food, scan barcode. I think when it successfully scans a barcode and it cannot detect, I should add an haptic there as well. And same for the nutrition label. And yeah, I knew it would give me the error related to this. So I have to clean the build folder and magically it starts working. But because my Mac is slow, I've been sounding like a broken record. I actually went to an Apple store today. It's not a part of the Shipaton, but I was thinking of using the prize money I got last year, which was, how much was it? 5,000 minus 30%, which is like $3,500. And I was thinking of gifting myself an M4 Max 16-inch. But the problem is, if I buy it directly from there, I cannot get the what do you say, the main, what's wrong, I cannot get the nano texture display, because sometimes I use my MacBook outside and I want that nano texture display, and I do not want it to be a 48 GB RAM, but more of a 64 GB RAM, because the price difference is not that much, and I do not want to go from 64 to 128. That seems to be an overkill, and but going from 48 to 64 seems good enough, and the price difference isn't that much compared to buying it here in Bangkok and buying it from India. And the build has failed again, so it looks like this video will go along as if it's a live stream. It wasn't supposed to go this way. So let's see, we are going to do some live debugging, and I don't plan to cut this out of the video. So there are two errors, and I think these are the same one related to cannot find the haptics. I think, oh, as you have heard me before, the problem is it cannot, I saw it just right now, it says the widget extension does not have access to this file, and I said this, it should not have access to this file, and it's just building up technical debt on death, and it will just be a death of the whole code base. Pun intended. That wasn't funny, to be honest. And with that, the code base should work, and if you have made it till this far, I hope you enjoyed my rant and you're doing well. And if you are a participant for Shipaton as well, let me know how you have been doing. It's been 5 days and we will almost be a week now. And how many weeks we have? Like, I think 9 more weeks. It's not going as I planned, so I need to buckle up and work more harder, and I would just wait for it to build successfully so I can commit it and call it a day. I think it will build successfully this time. Yeah, perfect. So thank you very much for listening and have a good day.